Welcome to the Gen Z Marketer podcast, where we have marketing conversations and everything in between. This episode may be a little controversial for some, but I think this is something that marketers or any employee may relate to. Let's talk about the reasons why your marketing team quits on you. Hashtag no filter. So maybe you're listening as an employee and these maybe are things that you relate to, or maybe you're listening as an employer and these are some things that you may feel offended with. And I'm just gonna say in advance, hashtag sorry not sorry. I'm kidding. But yes, I hope this episode will give you into some insights why people quit or why people decide to leave their jobs. So this episode is sponsored by The Modern Fashionista. They are a local brand that offers trendy and quality clothes for affordable prices for everyday Filipinas. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Shopee as The Modern Fashionista. Before we get to it, I'll just share with you real quick why I was inspired to do this episode. So one of the things that really inspired me are my personal experiences on why I've left some of my previous jobs, as well as stories of people that I know as to why they decided to leave their jobs or why they want to leave their jobs. Another is actually when I'm following one of these personalities on LinkedIn. Her name is Bridget Hyacinth. She's actually a human resources professional, and she actually shares a lot of things about why people quit or anything related to employees, some feelings or insights. And another person who kind of does this locally is Jonathan Yabut. And lastly, I was also inspired by a page I found on Instagram. It's at Career Marketer. They actually they post about anonymous confessions of marketers about their work experiences. And all of these factors actually, I noticed that there are common themes or common reasons as why marketers or we employees we leave our jobs. And here are those reasons why we quit. First, we have poor management. Okay. One of the reasons or one of the things that I commonly see is that people leave because there's poor management when it comes to their work. One is there's no clear direction. Where is the brand going? Where is the business doing? Or rather, where is the business going? What am I working for? What am I working towards to? What am I contributing to the success of the brand or the business? Some people, or us employees, we just don't see it. That's why we want to leave. Another is, I think some or most marketers would agree to this, is that when you're working on a brand that doesn't exist. What do I mean by this? You're working as a marketer, but there's no clear brand, there's no clear brand identity. It isn't really clear what you're working on or what you're marketing. And last, when it comes to poor management, I think one of the key factors, or I've seen that one of the key factors as well, is that there's no mentor. What do I mean by this? Basically, you're working for a boss, you're working for a manager, and not a mentor. And most people want to be mentored. They want to learn things. They want to grow. And some of the managers they're stuck with managers or bosses who just tell them what to do and do not really teach them or mentor them to learn new things or to grow with their career. And that's another reason why people quit. There is a lack of career growth, or there's no career growth, or there's no career path. Like you keep on working and you're working, but you don't see where you're going or if you're going anywhere, or even if there's a career growth or maybe a promotion coming for you. Another key factor is, I'm sorry to say this, is outdated company culture. Now, there's nothing really wrong about having traditional company cultures or having a bit more progressive company culture. But here's the thing. I think there are some cultures, or I've seen or I've heard that there are certain cultures that are so outdated that the young ones or the new blood wouldn't want to work for these cultures. Or maybe they have a system, or the company has a system that is so outdated that it doesn't promote progress. Maybe these company cultures also include lack of diversity or lack of mental health awareness or mental health initiatives, lack of awareness or initiatives for the LGBTQ community. So this is another factor that I've noticed that affects or that makes people quit. Another important reason, another big reason why people quit is because they're overworked. They're overworked, and actually I've seen this before. Their job descriptions go beyond what is defined. What do I mean by this? When you have your job descriptions, usually it defines what kind of work you do or what's the scope of your work. But sometimes there is a tendency for employers to overwork their employees by giving them work that is beyond their job description. So actually, I think some companies prefer this. They want people who are, team A players who just really want to do work and don't mind doing extra work. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But if the work they're doing is no longer reasonable with the salary you're paying them, that's a different story. When you're asking them to basically do the work of a team and there's only one of them, that's also another different story, because I've seen this before, that there are times when employers would look for, let's say, a marketer who can do PR, social media management, graphic design, all of these things. Basically, you're consolidating your marketing team into one person. You're cutting costs and asking that one person to do the whole marketing work. And that's another reason why people quit. Next is toxicity. Toxic work cultures. People leave toxic work cultures. Maybe you're a micromanager, maybe you're micromanaging them, and it's so stressful and it's so frustrating when people encounter that. Maybe your toxic work culture is very competitive, meaning employees are competing with each other. That's also not healthy. And speaking of health, one other reason, or the last reason I think why people quit, is because the work culture, the work environment, the managers, or everything else related to work already has a negative impact on their mental health. And unfortunately, I've seen this several times already to a lot of people. And that's the truth bomb that I wanted to drop. Do you agree with these? Do you agree with these? Or do you have other reasons why you leave your employers that I wasn't able to mention? Let us know in our socials at the Gen Z Marketer on Facebook, at Gen Z MKT on Instagram, and at anchor.fm/Gen Z MKT. Leave us a message there to share your thoughts or if you want to collaborate. And don't forget to follow the podcast to get notified on the latest uploads.